Welcome to the very first New World Comics podcast.
Woo!
Yay! We'll have like all kinds of sound effects where there's cheering. The studio audience, of course, will be heard. So.
Yeah.
But we are here at New World Comics with Buck Berlin, Stephanie Cerny, and I am the guest host today, Brad Reed. I host a podcast called Nerdz to Men. It's a weekly podcast. You can check it out at Spreaker, Stitcher, where else? iTunes podcasts and YouTube, which will be a lot of the places you can hear this podcast. Spreaker,
the Wall Street Journal, and New
yeah,
York Times.
Yeah. I was wanting to start doing a bit where, like, because if you listen to the podcast, they're like, "Hey, join me. I'll be this week at the Laugh Factory," or and I'll have like 20 places I'm appearing that don't exist.
Yeah. Find me at the Giggle Hut.
Yeah. But you can find us most weeks out here at New World Comics, just south of 63rd on Meridian in Oklahoma City. So
that's right.
Thanks for having me out. I'm excited about being on the first ever podcast.
Exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It means I'm important or something.
Or something.
Or something.
It means someday when there's an apocalypse and they're trading podcasts and movies and stuff like comic books now, they'll walk in with this one and be like, this one's the Holy Grail. Which I want to ask you kind of, about the store a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to ask, how often does like a comic walk in, because people, buy and sell.
Yeah.
How often does one walk in that you're like, holy crap?
Man, not to sound jaded, but almost never.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because, you'll get some stuff that comes in and it's really cool stuff. You'll see, mild first appearances of things, but once a year, if you're lucky, you'll get something that's like, hey, there's the first Spider-Man. Hey, there's first X-Men. Although, the year leading up to and the year that I got married, every 2 weeks there was something that was just jaw-droppingly amazing that came through. Like that, in that year's time, I owned every major Marvel #1 and first appearance DC minus like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Like it was just, hey, here's this. I owned X-Men 1, Amazing Fantasy 15. It was just this godlike collection. And then ever since then, it's just, oh, here's some cool stuff. Some cool stuff. And the market's kind of taken a turn to where there's what I refer to as like retroactive keys, like things that used to be just quarter comics, and now everyone's just hot after it because something happened in that issue,
right?
So now it's we have to keep our eyes out for this thing that I still look at it as old, just common stock, is now someone's like holy grail, and it's just kind of weird to me. So anytime something does come in, it's really, really cool.
What would you say is if like out there, what's the most expensive comic book out there?
There's this constant battle between Action Comics 1 and Detective 27. It's first Superman, first Batman.
Oh, okay, sure.
And Action Comics 1 is the first one to sell for $1 million, and then then Batman beat it, and then I think the last one that sold was Action, and I think that it's either 1.5 or 2 million now.
Right.
So
and you keep those in the back.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Fun story about that. When I was finishing up my Fantastic Four collection at San Diego Comic-Con, I had just purchased Fantastic Four #5, which is first Doctor Doom, and I had probably $1,500 in my pocket because back then no one really took cards as much out there, so everything was cash. And I walked up to a booth that had an Action 1, and I said, "Hey, how much is that?" They're like, "Oh, you can't afford it." I was like, "Can I at least see it?" They're like, "No, man, you don't look like a serious buyer." I was like, "Oh yeah." So I opened up my bag and showed them that comic.
Yeah.
And then I pulled out the wad of cash, which was mostly 1s and 5s, but on the outside, I had like 50s and 100s, which usually I held in reverse because you don't want to flash around that kind of money. But
yeah.
It looked like I had like
right.
$500,000 in cash. It was just, oh no, I'm a high roller. I just dress like this. So they were like, "Sure, step back here and take a look." And so like I got to hold it, and it was pretty cool. But after that, it really kind of took away a lot of the cool stuff.
Yeah.
From there, but I say that, and I still love everything. You know, I still enjoy it. It's still really cool to just see these things.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I kind of want to just introduce everybody since this is the first podcast, and maybe people that don't know who you guys are. So, you just recently celebrated an anniversary of owning the shop, and tell everybody about how long you've been here and how you got into it.
Yeah, actually, coming up next week marks 17 years of me working here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I got a job here. I got offered a job here at 11:55 p.m. on July 4th.
Oh yeah.
Because I helped rearrange the store, and I was the one kid that kept coming back and making sure that I got everything done, and I worked twice as hard as any other kid because I love this place.
Right.
You know, I love my wife with all my heart and soul, but this is my first love. I walked in here as a kid. I was like, this is a magical place. I love this with every fiber of my being. Like, this is it. So when they asked, hey, would you mind helping out? It was, of course I'll help. What do you need? How much blood do you need?
Yeah.
I'll give you all of my blood and then some. I'll find more blood for you. They're like, no, just move some boxes. I was like, okay, I'll move boxes. So I got a job doing that, and then 5 years later, in 2006, I took over.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you went back and told yourself at 11:55 p.m. on July 4th.
Oh, I would have had a stroke. I would have died. I mean,
they might have got you to work even harder.
Oh my God, yeah. But I mean, it's weird. I'm 34 now. I think I stopped counting after I hit 30. It was it doesn't matter till you hit 65 now.
Yeah.
But now looking back, man, I took over this business at 22. It's crazy. Like, find another 22-year-old. You're like, hey, run a business.
Right.
Run an established business where people are counting on you. It's
right.
terrifying.
Right. Yeah.
So, and young me was like, yeah, I got this.
Right.
And I'm real good at improvising and kind of taking care of crazy situations. So,
has the shop always been in this location?
It used to be at 39th and Ann Arbor until 1989, right before the Batman movie came out. And it moved over here and has been here ever since. And it spawned, as best as I've heard it, there used to be 5 other New Worlds, and then they've either been sold off or changed into other things or shut down.
Right. Okay.
Over time.
Who's the most famous person who's walked in the doors?
Oh, that is a very hard question.
Justin Nimmo.
Yeah, well, in recent years, yeah, probably him. I don't know, because apparently back in the 90s, like, just famous people come through all the time. There are some athletes that come through that I don't necessarily want to out the
Sure.
I don't want to be like, hey, come into the store and stock out. Like
Yeah.
the way that I treat the store, I want it to be a place where everyone can come in and feel safe and not feel like, oh man, I'm gonna get mobbed and do this. Like, I don't want it to be that for anyone.
Right.
So, like, anytime that these, anyone of note comes in, it's the, hey, how's it going? Can I help you find anything? If you need anything, let me know. And if they want to join and do stuff, cool. But if they just want to be people, let them be people.
I thought you were going to say me, but we'll move on.
Well, Cameo was in here not too long ago.
Oh.
Man, that guy has some dance moves.
Yeah. But nobody knows who Cameo
I saw the
is.
typewriter.
Okay, well, so that's Buck. Now, Buck is, he's the face. Everybody knows who Buck is. But he's not even my most favorite person who works here. That belongs to the comic book whisperer, Stephanie. Because you can walk in and Stephanie will kind of size you up and then tell you exactly what comic you should be reading. And she's usually, I don't know that I've read anything that she suggested that I did not like. So
that's one of my favorite things to do.
So how did you get this gift? And how long have you been working with New World Comics?
So we were trying to figure this out. And I think it's been like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
It's been too long to remember a
it's
time
so
before this.
Yeah, because I've been doing this, 12 years, like owning it for 12 years now, and it's I barely remember the early days now just because it was so not this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everything we've been doing lately has been so memorable, and we've been doing so much lately.
Yeah.
Like the past couple of years.
Yeah, well, because like the first couple of years, I think we were just up here just kind of goofing off. and then and then once we started doing all the stuff that we're doing now, we've I don't know been making differences in people's lives, and it's
Yeah.
it's weird. Like we're more than just a business now. Like we're
I can see that.
yeah.
Because you do a lot of stuff around the store where you have events and stuff like that, which you're involved with a lot of it,
Yeah.
like Superhero School.
I do a lot of the planning and a lot of behind the scenes.
Right.
Buck is very hands-on. Stephanie
Yep. Whoa.
is very behind the scenes and planning and thinking about things that
Yeah.
Buck does not want to think about.
Yeah, like I'll get a harebrained idea like, oh, we should have this big crazy event, or someone will come and be like, hey, I have this really cool charitable thing that I want to do. I'm like, that's awesome. We can totally do that, and I know that we can totally do that because Stephanie is there to save me.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, we have this thing in like 2 days.
And
Yeah.
she's like, oh my
That's
god, I
always
will
great,
kill
right?
you. Yeah. But like a champ, she takes everything and she'll message everyone.
Yeah.
And, because I tried to do that and I just kept dropping the ball because like I'll try to message everyone, I'll try to get the word out, and then I have to do something with the business,
Right.
and then I just couldn't get back to it. So Stephanie will do that. Okay, well I have the time that I can do this. I can talk to them. I can talk them down. I can talk them up. I can yeah.
I think being a people person really
Right.
helps, and that helps with the recommendations and getting to know people. Like, I like to know everybody.
Right.
Like, I like to know what people like. I like to know what type of, like, everybody who comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that definitely helps with Superhero School and with the events we're doing. And, we volunteer with Britain Elementary. And once we find out what's going on in the community, that's something I can totally get behind. And that's what makes me happy,
Yeah.
and gets me going up here.
I wanted to ask you, was there any kind of what was like the first comic book that really got you into all of it? Do you remember?
I don't know. I mean, like,
Well,
to be honest,
what's your go-to? Like me, I love Batman. I'd have to say Batman's number one. You know what I mean? And then I have a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
yeah,
stuff like that. So who's your favorite? I guess, or you just love it all?
I love it all. I mean, like, more recent
Mhm.
stuff. Like, if I had to recommend something to somebody, I'd be
Mhm.
like, you need to read, like, the new Hawkeye.
Right.
Or you need to read, like, the new Squirrel Girl or Ms. Marvel.
Right.
I mean, there's so much amazing stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? I
Uh,
think there's definitely something, like, everybody can enjoy.
Right. I mean, I guess you just sit there and like read them like the Flash because you seem to have read all of them.
Another thing with knowing people, like, I have great friends up here,
Mhm.
like Bronson and Flowers, and they each have their own expertise.
Right.
Bronson is really into, like, independent stuff, and I love just getting his insight on what he knows, everything that's hot and everything that's going on.
Right.
And learning so much from people who have their own expertise in things.
Right. The store is open not 24/7, but every day of the year.
Every day of the year, yeah.
It kind of feels like it's 24/7
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, yeah. No, and I got that from the previous owner. Like he wasn't terribly religious. We'll just kind of put it like that.
Sure.
And he would come up here on the off days and work, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And not to say anything against my family or anything, but either my family's functions would be over real quick, or like I'd be sick of it and got to get away from it.
Sure.
So I'd be like, oh, I got to get up to the store. And when I first took over, we had this collection of people who didn't really have family or too many friends outside of here. So I kind of came up here and had like second and third Christmas
Yeah.
for them, or Thanksgiving or whatever. It's the, hey, got to go take care of the family.
Right.
And that doing all that is kind of what when I realized that this place could be so much more than just a store, because the store kind of becomes a church for people.
Sure.
Like people come in, tell me their problems, I'll try to help them out with whatever's going on. Sometimes people just need to to chill. Sometimes
Mhm.
people want to do something for the community, so like that's where we kind of come in and help with that. So and some customers have even called me out. They're like, "So, what church did you grow up in, Buck? What did you, who taught you how to do all this?" I was like, "This just happens."
Yeah. Yeah. I like the community around here because we've been coming up here for a few years now, and
Yeah.
I think it started off with like the Free Comic Book Day and the New World Comic Cons in the past, and you're right, it's a family-friendly atmosphere, but it's a family up here as well. So
It really is, yeah, and we try not to be terribly exclusive about it. Like sometimes someone will come around that is too rough around the edges or can't quite not swear around kids. And,
sure.
We'll try to not include them as much, but we still want them to feel like this is still a place for them. But
right, Jerry Bennett.
Yeah.
No,
if he would just stop swearing at kids. No, but it really is that kind of kind of an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's just so neat that like, man, we all love comics. So like, it's hard to describe because right now, everyone is just so tumultuous with politics, and everyone up here gets along at some level. So even if you say something or do something that offends you on a political level, whatever, that does bring you back down to, oh wait, we still have comics. Let's start over.
Right. Sure.
Let's go back to that, and we can move forward from there. Sorry, we didn't mean to upset each other.
How long have you guys been doing the superhero school?
Just over 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
It's kind of a collaboration.
Yeah.
We would do sales and notice that people would come out and stay longer when we had costume superheroes. And just goofing off one day, one of the kids that was working for me put on a whole bunch of broken comic book boxes. It was like, "Oh, I'm a robot." So of course we all attacked him with rolls of tape and made him in a robot suit that he couldn't really move in, and we shoved him outside, just to bully him a little. And while he was outside, he started like doing robot stuff in the suit that he couldn't really move in. And we were like, "Oh man, we should make a character out of this." They're like, "Oh, call them Robox."
Yeah, nice.
So someone that was up here did a real quick sketch of it, and we were like, "Oh, I think I know how to make that." So we made a suit out of that, and then that led to me learning how to just generally make costumes.
So that that's what I was gonna say. You look around the store, there's a bunch of homemade costumes, and that's something I think I all the time I walk in and you're working on over here.
Always making something.
Yeah.
Always
so that
making
started
something.
around the same time as when the superhero school started.
Well, that was probably 2 years before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And I would just make costumes for people for during sales. So like, hey, we're having the sale, come out, meet Batman. Because most of the store-bought costumes that I saw, I was like, I can do better with cardboard and duct tape, like, for real.
Yeah.
So it started off with that, and then we started attracting other people that like actually cosplayed and made their actual costumes. And we realized we have like 10 or 12 friends that do this.
Yeah.
We're like, we should
amazing.
do something with this. So I was like, so do we just have like superhero day? What do we, how do we do this? And it was either Stephanie or Lori that said, oh, wait, what if we did like a school?
Right. Right. And so what y'all do is y'all have, what are the typical ages of the, I mean, it's kind of directed towards the kids.
It's, I'd probably say that the kids that are about 4 and up really enjoy it. Like 4 and 5, they start to understand more of what's going on and can kind of latch on and get stuff from it.
Right.
And then there are always the adults that just want to come and see the thing. 'Cause,
They're always in the back just watching.
Yeah. Yeah, which is fine.
Taking
right?
pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a good way to, instead of just looking at Wikipedia or something, but learn the actual history of these characters.
Yeah.
And bring it to life.
Yeah, and we try to more often than not do the comic versions of characters as opposed to just the movie ones. Even though sometimes the movies get them better, you know, make a better character out of them. Just because some of the comic characters are just, here's another archetype that fit the bill. There you go. You know, like Drax in the comics for the longest time was just a knockoff Hulk.
You're right. Yeah.
You know, and then now in the movie, it's he has an actual personality and motivation. So, you know, we'll skew more towards that now. But like for the most part, we'll just go, here's the comic version of this. Here's why it's different. Here's why, you know, you should, you know, go after that.
Right.
So,
and I'm kind of thinking with some of the maybe kids that might be a little younger than that. Sometimes you notice they're, you know, I love Spider-Man. Then they meet Spider-Man. They're like, boom, they're scared to death.
Oh yeah. They like hide behind their parents.
We used to only do one character or two characters a day for superhero school. Because at first we were like, we'll go down the alphabet.
Yeah, the very first year, we decided alphabetical was the way to go.
Right. Yeah. So like, A was for Avengers, B is for Batman, C is for Captain America. D is Daredevil, E is oh no.
Yeah.
We're like, what's the superhero that's E? Elektra? Oh, but Elektra's very much not kid friendly.
Yeah.
What do we do? So we were like, Electro and Spider-Man can show up. Yeah, we're doing Electro and Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Yeah, it turned into some villains, and then.
Yeah, how do you do that with like maybe like a Deadpool or something? Do you kind of have to edit them for?
We do.
Deadpool did not show up until this year.
Right.
Well,
maybe last year.
Yeah.
So over the course of doing this, we've kind of found the line, and a pretty hard PG is kind of where everyone likes to sit. Like there's some parents that think that that's not kid friendly enough, but other than that, you're not really entertaining everyone. You're catering to the smallest part of the audience, as opposed to I noticed in a lot of movies and things that are made for kids that are the most entertaining. They're made for adults with kids in mind.
Right.
And I thought, okay, that's where we need to aim.
Right.
So a lot of our humor will be that, and we can make certain jokes that'll go over the kids' heads. And as the adults are laughing, the kids will laugh because the adults are laughing, and then everyone's having a good time regardless.
Yeah.
But with Deadpool, I think it was Deadpool or KG Beast or someone. They had the idea of instead of being a mercenary, they were hired to go play tag.
Right.
So the person that they needed to go tag, he wanted to make them it so badly. So they went through and kept accidentally making other people it until the guy that he was really trying to tag went into a room and he decided it's just best to tag everyone. And then everyone was it.
Right.
And the parents were just like, bravo.
Yeah.
That's almost more horrific. But the kids were like, oh, we get it.
Yeah. Totally. Because I was wondering, I figured a lot of kids didn't know who Deadpool was, but then there was like a little video game or something that my nephews had, and he was 6, and he was like, I'm a huge Deadpool fan. I was like, where did you even find out about Deadpool?
I mean, you have to think about it like when we were kids, like we all loved Wolverine, and Wolverine was the guy that cut people open and did all the awful stuff.
Absolutely.
Of course, if the adults love him, then it's the person that all the kids are going to love.
Sure.
So we thought about that and thought, how do we make that work? How do we, how do we present that for an audience?
Sure.
Yeah, one of the most surprising things from superhero school is who the kids like.
Right.
And what we think will scare them, they love.
Yeah.
Like,
most of the time.
The scariest masks, they absolutely love.
Yeah.
Who they're scared of the most is the Silver Surfer.
Well,
really?
Well, actually, the most scared / loved, which is a real fun story. We did in the early year or the first year Hulk, which we didn't have anyone that like was Hulk sized. So I was like, I could make a Hulk suit, but that's gonna look awful. So I was talking to my buddy Joe, and he says, "Oh, I've got this friend. He's swole. He's big. He's the biggest dude. He's a bouncer.
He does security. Yeah.
He does security. He works out at my gym. He's the biggest, most like ripped dude you'll ever meet.
Right.
Yeah. So we were all like, yeah, we are pumped. We are so excited about this. Oh my God, I can't wait for the Hulk. So, the night before, I'm like, hey, Joe, how's your friend? We haven't seen him. We haven't met him. There's a thing. Kids are going to show up to this thing tomorrow. We have to have someone. He was like, well, my friend can't do it. I was like, oh no, what do I do? He's like, but I have this other friend who's just like super buff and like awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank God. Just make sure he's here tomorrow at 8 because we have to paint him green. We have a wig. So this guy walks in who is smaller build than me.
Right.
He's not as big. He's in pretty good shape, and he says, "I'm here to be the Hulk."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, hi."
Yeah.
So it's this guy that I wouldn't say that he's not strong about, but he was not what we were promised.
He was the underwhelming Hulk.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Not the Incredible Hulk.
So this guy that we just met, I was like, "Hey, here's your ripped purple pants. If you wouldn't mind going back getting them on, we'll get the green paint ready." So he goes and we're
and this is one of the first times we had to paint somebody
yeah,
too.
yeah. We were like, we don't know what we're doing. Like, oh God. So while he's in back changing, we're just like, oh, this is a nightmare. What are we doing? So he comes out and we start painting him, and then like we get along great. Like right off the bat, like we're making jokes. It's it's good. And then he comes out, as the Hulk for the kids, and he's awesome. Like this guy does great improv and acts, and he's honestly probably the best person I've ever had do superhero
So he was
school.
the Incredible Hulk.
He was so
Nice.
great.
Awesome.
But all of the kids loved him and were terrified of him. Like every kid wanted a picture of him.
yeah.
But
didn't.
not with him.
Yeah,
Right.
Like the parents all lined up with their kids and they're like, "Hey, go get your picture with Hulk," and they'd like walk up, wave, and then like just take a picture, and they'd point and like, "Take a picture of that."
Yeah.
Like, no, you get it. Like, mm-mm. Yeah, but hopefully we'll get Dre to do one of these. But that was the first time that we met Dre, and he's the best Black Panther. That's like Chadwick Boseman has nothing on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this guy is amazing. I
Right.
love him so much. And we even joke that like, man, how did you get to be the Hulk? He was like, I don't know. Just thank you.
yeah. Sometimes you just got to be toned. You don't have to be super huge.
Yeah, well, we definitely did some
I think
muscle
we drew
shading.
in the
Yeah.
muscles.
Yeah, I've got some pictures. I'll see if we can get those.
Yeah,
posted.
I
But
have the
there's-
pictures.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how Superhero School kind of turned into an idea for New World Comic Con.
Oh yeah. So like I said, we do a whole bunch of charity events and things like that. Melody, who owned the Paramount at the time, asked us to come out and have like a mini superhero school for some kids from Catholic Charity that was just down the road from the Paramount building. They were doing a screening of, I think, Captain America at the time, and she wanted the Avengers out. So we went out, and my crew was awesome. Like, they blew the kids away. Kids never saw anything like it. We had, Captain America, Iron Man, Falcon, Nick Fury, everybody out there. And Melody said, "This is really great. Are you guys able to do this on a bigger scale?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, we need to do something sometime." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like a function or something. I was like, "Okay, cool." Because people say that all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then 2 or 3 weeks later, she comes by and says, "All right, well, I think it's been time long enough. Let's do something." I said, "Like what?" She said, "Well, I don't know if you've been to the rest of the Paramount, but I have a whole bunch of room upstairs and a whole bunch of empty rooms, and just, is there anything that you'd want to do that might need a whole bunch of room?"
Yeah.
Like a
Ding.
you mean like a comic convention? She was like, "Oh, like a Comic-Con. I'd love to help host a Comic-Con." I was like, "Oh, sweet baby Jesus, I just got a Comic-Con. I
Yeah.
got a Comic-Con oh my God, what am I gonna do?
And then he's like, "Hey, Stephanie."
It was yeah, yeah.
We got a week. Make it happen.
So
Yes.
yeah. So that happened, and like as Melody was walking out the door, I was dialing Stephanie. I was like, I'm getting Stephanie right now. So I called. So I was like, we have to put on a comic book convention. She says, what?
Have you had any experience with that before?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
I mean, now I'm into expert planner.
yeah, sure.
well,
But-
and yeah, and a lot of her planning skills came out because she helped organize Free Comic Book Day, and we didn't realize it at the time, but Free Comic Book Day itself is like a mini convention.
I mean, it's 24 hours.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long drawn out thing that we have a whole bunch of guests
Mhm.
and artists
Right.
and people that we need to cater to, and we have people in costume that we have to look out for. We have
Yeah,
like it's just
inside, outside, there's things going on the sidewalk and the street. Like, you have to make sure everybody's okay everywhere.
Right.
yeah. So we realized that that's how you run a comic convention. Like,
Yeah.
you just have a whole bunch of spinning plates and you take care of all of them, and that's how you do it. So yeah, New World Comic Con went on, and it was a success. Like people came out, people had a great time.
I think there were almost too many people came out at a
Yeah.
point. Like,
Well, yeah, the best part about it was there was we didn't realize that there was going to be a race that day downtown in front of the Paramount.
Oh yeah.
So half the street was cut off, and then the other was blocked with traffic trying to get through because they didn't know that there was a race going on. But the people that were in the race stopped racing to come and join the convention. They were like, we can run another race any other time. When does a convention happen?
Right.
Let's do this. So they came in and were like, hey,
Nice.
let's do this comic convention.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did the popularity of New World Comic Con 1 kind of necessitate the move
Oh,
to
yeah.
Yeah. So
fairgrounds?
within a year, Melody had rented out half of the space upstairs, and we got to the point where we needed all the space upstairs plus parts of the parking lot. And then there was something like if you have over 10 tents in a parking lot or something, it's like a $10,000 fee or something like that. It was astronomical. And we were like, if we have this in July, we can't have it outside. We can't do this. We can't do this. Oh, we have to move.
well, that
Yeah.
one was in September.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were
but
doing
still,
it in
it was so hot. 'Cause
Yeah.
remember, the air conditioning went out.
Oh, yeah. Just everything that could have gone
Yeah.
wrong.
The
at the
Paramount is
yeah.
a very old building.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
Mhm.
yeah, which added so much charm to it. Like it was
Sure.
just and it was really cool because like every nook and cranny had something. Like if you open a door or went around a corner or something, there was something that we put there.
Like,
Right.
It was a wonderful con, and we met some great people through doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
People who are still helping us with things now.
Yeah, like the family expanded so much from doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. But yeah, and then after that it was oh god, we have to find space.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Yeah.
like, what's the state fair?
Right.
And I always look at that as, oh man, the state fair, that's big time. That's unobtainable.
Yeah.
And it was well, this is very affordable. We can do this. Okay.
Right. Did you ever have any anxiety? Like, what if nobody comes?
Oh, I have that. I have that still. Like,
Which is ridiculous because every year it's been.
every day I'm
been
every day I wake up
great.
and come
Every
to the
day
store.
I get
it's,
these messages.
it's the what if no one shows up? Oh man.
You know, what I did for New World Comic Con 2 is I looked at some of the conventions that were going on.
Mhm.
Underground Monster Carnival
Right.
that Art does. He used the Hobbies, Arts, and Crafts building, which is what we used the second year.
Right.
Which was the best building. I love that building. And that's what he had been using for his shows. And that's why
Absolutely.
we decided to use that for the second year.
Yeah. And then what building are we in now?
We're in the Centennial building.
Yeah.
Centennial.
So
Yeah.
we moved up last
Yeah,
year, and
yeah.
we're still in the Centennial building this year.
Yeah,
Right.
we were gonna go bigger until we realized that like last year the sheet that we looked at didn't have the right dimensions on it. So when we got everything set up, we were like, oh, we have all this extra space in the back. Oh no, because we could have sold so many more tables.
Sure.
And so we've reworked it this year, and I mean, looking, knowing what we know now, we should have gone bigger because we have a pretty decent wait list.
I mean,
right
like,
now.
I'm telling all the vendors, still message me, email me. I'm working on a wait list. You know, we send the floor plan to the fire marshal,
Yeah,
make sure
'cause-
everything's okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Because if anyone drops out, then we need to make sure that we fill all the spaces. And we're still figuring out like, oh, if we undo this thing, we can put a table there. And then we just update fire marshal, that kind of thing. But
Right. It's a great time. This one's going to be July 28th, going on 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You guys mentioned the Centennial Building. Kids Carnival, local vendors, comic book artists, superheroes,
Yep.
Nerds to Men.
Yep. Yeah. I just announced yesterday we have Count Gregor coming back.
Love Count Gregor.
And then Justin Nemo is coming
Yeah.
out. He didn't join us last year,
That's right.
but
When I met Stephanie, it was because we were trying to get an interview with Justin, and like I think one of the Spanish TV
yes.
stations
oh yeah,
needed him for an interview, so she was wrangling him, and
oh.
yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, well, because the first or the second year when we were out there, I gave so many interviews. Like everyone just randomly showed up and like,
we were not expecting that.
yeah,
Right.
No one's like, hey, they're here to interview. We were like, what?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
you
like-
and where are you from?
Yeah.
We ended up on Telemundo. Like,
Right.
What is this? Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Adults are $6. Kids under 5 are free with an adult.
Yep.
Nobody under 5 is allowed to come
Don't
without
don't
an
just
adult.
Yeah,
drop off your kids,
yeah.
please.
Oh, is that how? Is
Yeah.
that okay? I get it.
I
Yeah.
think there are laws against that.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Forrest, our producer, he'll watch your kids for you. No, he won't.
No.
you don't want Forrest doing that.
But we have just amazing stuff going on all day. I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the vendors. We're gonna have panels
Absolutely.
going on.
Right.
We're doing a superhero school out there too,
Awesome.
which is gonna be amazing. You're gonna love it.
How are you? Is it a secret so far? Is it a
is
surprise?
currently just because I don't want to announce anything that I don't have ready to go.
Okay.
It's
just
one of
real
your
quick,
favorite
just whisper
things.
in my ear.
No, but you're gonna love it.
Okay, I can't wait. It's so good. And the great thing I love is July 28th is only 2 days after my birthday, so I always con people into buying me stuff.
And we'll still be partying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I guess we should talk about some stuff that's going on in the comic book world right now.
Yeah, it's a lovely time to be a comic fan. Yeah.
It's like it's June, so that means weddings.
Oh yeah.
Weddings are in the air,
Yep.
and we got
Or
some-
are they?
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Dun dun dun.
It's like soap operas. Can you really expect a wedding to go off without a hitch? But let's talk about some of the comic book weddings that are going on right now. In these current editions.
So the last couple months, Marvel's been pushing the Kitty Pryde Colossus wedding,
Yeah.
which like anyone who's been growing up in comics is like, oh man, it's the ultimate will they won't they?
Right.
Yeah, and then they've never really been together. Like the most they've been together is like, hey guys, we're together. Oh look, one of them dies or fake dies
Or decides to date someone else named Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's this, it's this weird relationship that it feels like it's been happening for forever, but it really hasn't, because, again, someone's been dead or, not around or dating someone else or, when they were together, it was, oh, look at all this crazy stuff happening.
Right.
Why are they all together,
Yeah.
So,
this one is X-Men Gold Till Death Do Us Part.
Yep.
And when did this one come out?
it came out 2 weeks ago, so I think, anyone who's been on the internet probably knows now that Peter and Kitty didn't get married.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
But
so,
yeah, there's a nice twist in this that I didn't see coming.
yeah, which when you read the issue, Mark Guggenheim did his research and referenced every single time that Peter and Kitty got together or broke up, or like the reasons why. Like, Colossus was on a different planet and fell in love with another lady that sacrificed herself for him, and like, he was so in love with her, and then when he got back, he was just so heartbroken. He was like, I can't love again, that kind of stuff. And then like, Kitty was out in space for a while, and all this other stuff. And there were so many times that they could have gotten together and didn't, and they referenced those, except for this one time a couple years ago in Wolverine and the X-Men, Colossus, gets 1/5 the power of the Phoenix Force,
Right.
right? And while he's hopped up on Phoenix juice, he's like, "Hey, Kitty, I'm practically unstoppable now. Nothing can hurt us. There's no reason we shouldn't be together.
Right.
Let's do this. I love you." And she was like, "You don't love me. If you love me, this, and this wouldn't happen. You're selfish. You're this. You're a total jerk. We're absolutely wrong for each other. It was a childhood crush. What are you talking about?" And it seemed like everything was put to bed there. And it was
Right.
like, wow, look at you all being, responsible adults and like, because think of your childhood crush and be like, oh, if you have to be around them for forever and like, you grow out of that stuff too.
Sure.
And, it's like comics can't realize that, yeah, people grow out of old crushes or weird situations like that. You all can be adults and function and not, reference that. You don't have to like, yeah, let's get married because
I met you when I was 15.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
we dated once, then yeah.
Right.
So,
well,
and then, and then they swept that on the rug and then, used that. And then for, completely different reasons, they did the, oh, hey, this is why they shouldn't get married. And it's that, well, at least we got to where we shouldn't have been. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to ask, because I know that it's been recent that Wolverine has come back.
Yeah.
But he's watching, I think, from afar here.
Yeah, he's on like a rooftop.
Yeah, which I don't know why he's not like, hey, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I've been reading the stuff, like, and he's, back, but not like, hey,
There he is.
what's up? Let's all party.
Yeah, yeah.
Because ever since House of M, like, he got all his memories back, and then like he took over the X-Men. Like Cyclops, went super crazy, and Wolverine was like, hey, let's get the X-Men, where it needs to be. And he kind of evolved as a character, and now he's like, no, I'm a loner again. Let's creep in the shadows.
Right.
So
are we going to spoil the twist, or are we going to leave that for everybody? Because
we might as well, just because, like, the comic's coming out soon.
Yeah.
The
Mr. and
Mrs.
If you don't want to know.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. X, that's starring the newly married Rogue and Gambit.
There we go.
I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, which I think that's going to go as well as any quick decision marriage.
I would know how much you love Gambit.
Oh,
he
my
is
God.
one of your favorite characters.
So which that's one thing about me that most people don't realize. Which like I'll read a comic with him in it, but I don't like Gambit
At all.
Yeah, and so many people get offended, but I mean,
I'm
like,
offended.
well, and
Not
that's
even
the
a
thing,
little
like,
bit.
yeah, and that's the thing is, so many of my favorite characters are people's absolute least favorite character. Like,
Yeah.
I love Dazzler. Show me a comic with Dazzler, and I'm in.
Yeah.
But like with Gambit, it's give me actual Wolverine, because like to me, Gambit's just Diet Coke to Wolverine's Coke. Like it's a completely different flavor, but go for the real thing, baby.
You had the complete like collection of Gambit, and I bought it not too long ago. It was just I thought there was a reason why you're trying to get it off your shelf, but it was awesome. I'm a big fan, but yeah. So I didn't. That was a twist. How many tears did you shed, Stephanie? I know this comic got you in the feels.
I
Go
wasn't
ahead.
feeling the actual wedding that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I like Colossus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Kitty, I'm sad for them.
well, and that's the thing
And
is,
it's like you're reading, you're like, way to go, Magic.
yeah.
Screwing it all up.
Well, and it's really her fault that, like, in the early comics, she was the one who was like, "Come on, you should date my brother." What's the age difference? 5 years? That'll be nothing later.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't you think my brother's cute? Which is really weird.
Yeah.
Going back and reading that now.
Right,
But I guess
yeah.
they talk like that in
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s. Whatever. I don't know about their life, but yeah.
You never waste a good wedding ceremony or a buffet. So I'm glad somebody else just stepped
Yeah.
in and kept it going. Okay, so we have another wedding coming up.
Yeah, coming up this week, we actually are doing a midnight release for it. Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah. When is that midnight release?
It's if you stay up late Tuesday night, because I can't say Wednesday night or Wednesday midnight release, but
Sure.
it's going to be this Tuesday night into Wednesday morning midnight release.
Oh, so that's like July 3rd into July 4th.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, that's a weird day to do it.
isn't
Seems,
it? That sounds like great marketing to me.
Yeah.
That's perfect, and I'm glad that everyone involved was so cautious about deciding these
Yeah.
things for us.
I know everyone's going to be super happy about it
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
gonna
to
yeah.
come pick up their book
Well,
at
yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, and I mean it's really cool because right now the current Batman run is the best we've had in years, and
Mhm.
I say that knowing that the Scott Snyder run that happened right before this, as I was reading it, I thought, man, this is Frank Miller level. This is
Are we talking about New 52 to
Yeah,
Rebirth?
yeah. The New 52 Batman run is absolutely the best thing that happened in all of
I loved
New
it.
52.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Tom King stuff is better. Like, and it hurts me to say that, but
Yeah.
it's oh my god. I don't know why he wasn't doing any of this in the first place. Like, it's just so good. Everything that Tom King writes is amazing.
So what led up to Batman finally, deciding I can marry somebody?
I think that it was him realizing that Batman is just more than himself.
Mm.
There were some things in the comics that kind of led to him realizing, oh, she's the one for me.
Right.
Like she had my back. Like, she was involved in helping take down Bane and getting a whole bunch of other stuff taken care of, and he realized that she is the one that means the most to him.
Right.
And there's kind of a hiccup that's going on right now. If you're reading along, that Batman and Catwoman are getting married. Bruce Wayne and Selina might not be.
Oh, so Bruce Wayne
So-
can still play.
Well, it might be one of those, like, they eloped or whatever.
Mhm.
Sure,
Here's
yeah.
the prenup guy. Yeah, but it's kind of a complicated thing, and like it's real cool reading it because, like, Joker decides that he needs to be Batman's best man.
Yeah, of course.
And he pleads a pretty good case on it.
Yeah.
And cool stuff like that's happening. So this could be another will they won't they, but the Catwoman issue touts that it's coming up to be the thing that happens immediately after the wedding.
So will he be wearing the Batman suit? What will she be wearing?
Oh yeah, who knows?
Who will she be
Who
wearing?
are
Yeah.
they wearing?
Who will object?
Any one of the rogues, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
so much that can happen with this, and it's like I want this to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it means a lot more to me because, every year we do Batman Day,
Mhm.
and Batman Day falls on my actual 5-year anniversary to the wife. So, like, for us, it's that's even cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That is cool. And so that one comes out, like you said, it'll midnight at July 3rd
Yeah.
into July.
Mhm.
3rd.
At least that's what we're told right now. Things could change because it does. But yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned to our Facebook page. We'll have more.
So celebrate your independence by Batman giving up his.
That's horrible.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Also, Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Some pictures just got
Yeah,
released.
super exciting movie news.
Yeah. So yeah, Kristen Wiig is gonna be Cheetah,
Right.
and yeah, I watched the Looney Tunes show where she plays Lola Bunny,
Mm-hmm.
and she is absolutely crazy, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
She does such a good job.
I did see the picture of Kristen Wiig. I'm still waiting to see her as.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the picture that she shows is just her.
Plain
normally.
clothes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate that they're saying, hey, this is gonna be an '80s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Here's just a little bit. Like, it bothers me anymore that we have so much information about the movie before it even comes out that nothing surprises you. Like, imagine if you were watching Thor Ragnarok and didn't know that Hulk was in it.
Right.
Like, can you imagine how blown everyone's minds would be if that happened?
Right.
So
Yeah, right now I'm just envisioning her looking like other people in superhero school.
yeah.
And I'm totally okay with that.
And is there anything going on with the Wonder Woman comics that might kind of coincide with the movies at all, or
Not yet, at least. But
anything that you might suspect that they're basing any of this off of?
There's so much that has gone on in the Wonder Woman comics that they could pick and choose. Like, here are 8 panels from that. Here's a general story from that, and here's a few things from this, and cobble it together. And hey, here's a brand new story.
Right.
So
The one thing about DCEU is they're not known right now for basing it, too much on the source material. I don't.
right, and they look for iconic poses and images to put into to the movies. Like, in Batman versus Superman, we got so many Dark Knight references.
Yeah, totally.
That they almost forgot they needed a story to go along with all that.
Right.
So
I would like to see them do more, like as far as basing it off of.
oh yeah, me too.
I think that's where they would have a lot more success. Let's talk a little bit, Buck. You've seen one episode of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Me and Stephanie have. Did you finish it?
I finished it last night.
Ooh,
How dare you?
I've got
It is so good.
I'm like 8 episodes in right now, but I really, really love it. Where would you put it as far as? Did you like season 1 or season 2?
Season 2 is way better than season 1. We're talking about
Really?
Luke Cage, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I was thinking,
You have only seen the first episode.
I was watching it thinking, man, I think of all the shows, the first Luke Cage is so cinematic and so well put together.
Yeah.
It might be the best of the Marvel shows.
I think so. I really like it. I think the story's always good. I like the the cinematography of it. It's bright. Even though there's a lot of dark stories and gruesome stories.
The use of music,
the music.
It's amazing in this season.
Well, because the first season, like, I'd heard the rumor that it was going to be strictly hip hop and strictly this, and it wasn't. It was,
right.
It was essentially, here's the history of Harlem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's all the cool stuff that comes out of there, and here's what it means to all this, and here's different interpretations of it, and it was beautiful. It was
right.
The score alone was a work of art.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, like, episode 1, I'm judging it pretty harsh, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite as cinematic, and first episode, it's the man, look how great everything is. Things are going so well for Luke Cage. I can't wait for everything else to go even better. Which just sets it up for some bad stuff's about to happen.
Definitely. And we're not gonna, like I said, we won't spoil it too much. But I kind of want to ask you a couple of things. Cottonmouth was a big character last year.
Yeah.
And of course he met his end, but. And you've got an action figure of him over here.
For those watching the thing, yeah. So Cottonmouth used to look like this, the big purple guy from the Serpent Society. Which before, like in the original comics, he looked like a strung out pimp.
Oh, really?
That like was actual part snake. It was terrible. And then you go to the show and it's one of the most compelling villains that we've seen.
Yeah. He was awesome.
He was amazing. Well,
I was mad that he got killed off.
A lot of that I think is just Mahershala being awesome.
Yeah.
He's such an amazing actor that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But to take that and turn it into something so worthwhile, it's just amazing.
Which I think they definitely are doing that with the Bushmaster.
Yeah, I heard that Bushmaster was the villain. I was like, the dude with a shotgun arm.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, how close is he to his comic book?
In the one scene in episode 1, he's so much better in the show.
I love Bushmaster in this show.
Oh my god, yeah, he's such a worthless villain in the comics.
And it's he's a villain, but he's the villain where you're kind of rooting for the villain.
That's fun. Yeah, I've never ever said, yeah, let's go Bushmaster. Let's see some more of him, and let's see him.
Oh, you're gonna be saying that pretty soon.
Okay, cool.
That's one of the good things, though, I like about the Marvel shows on Netflix is they do, most of them anyway, have pretty good villains. I thought.
Yeah.
Wilson Fisk. What was the
Purple Man.
The Purple Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and then like I say, Cottonmouth and Bushmaster now.
Yeah.
But I wondered with Bushmaster. That sounds like a gun or a brand of a gun, I think. So I didn't know if there was, you said he has a gun for an arm.
Yeah, I mean, there's an issue of Blade where he rips it off because they were like, "Oh, that's dumb."
Yeah.
Yeah. Which what's the movie that just came out that Venom looks like it's ripped off of?
Oh.
Upgrade.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, like there's a dude that has like a shotgun in his hand. I was like, oh, hey, look, Bushmaster. And then come to find out in LukeCage, oh, Bushmaster is the villain.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how about that parallel thinking?
Well, if I had more time, like I would have already finished this this season because it's been really good. I mean, like any of those, there might be some times where it's there's peaks and valleys, but as a whole, I just love it. Plus, I love that he hangs out with Method Man. He doesn't. They show Ghostface Killer. He's performing at the club, and he talks about how he
KRS-One performs too.
Oh yeah, well, and even is it Guy Clark Jr. or Gary Clark Jr.? I'm getting it mixed up, but he plays kind of bluesy music, and he's from Austin. He was featured on this, so they got a wide variety of music. I love it.
Cool.
Okay, we're recording this on a Friday, but next week. Is it next week? I believe that AntManandWasp is out already.
Yeah.
How excited are you for that?
Man, I am so pumped about Ant-Man. Like, Ant-Man has been one of my all-time favorite characters. So, when they announced they're like, hey, Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man, I was like, who asked me?
Yeah.
Who was like, hey, Buck, who should we make movies of? And I was like, Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. This is my dream come true. And the fact that we're getting a sequel,
right.
Oh my God.
I just wondered because it's like everybody that I talk to is, oh, I forgot that was coming out because, of course.
Yeah, because Infinity War.
Yeah.
Which I'm more excited about this than I was Infinity War.
I already have my tickets.
Yeah. Where does this take place?
From what I understand, it takes place like right after Civil War.
Oh, okay. So it's between Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So at least that's what I hear. I mean, I anymore I try to watch like one trailer and then cut myself off because. Man, Marvel loves to show the ending of everything. Yeah. Unbeknownst to us, we saw the ending of Infinity War.
Right, right.
In the first trailer, yeah.
So do you think that it will lead up to maybe where Thanos is getting rid of people, in Ant-Man and Wasp? Do you...
Maybe.
Do you think they survive Thanos?
I would think they would, because I mean, you can't kill off all your characters, but I mean, it really depends on where they want to go with the movie. Because in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, Nebula gets a hold of the Infinity Gauntlet and undoes everything that Thanos does because that's what it can do.
Right.
It's just with the snap of the fingers, it can do everything.
Right.
So it really just depends on where they want to go with it or what kind of out they want to write for themselves.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Don't forget, there is a New World Comic Superhero School that's going on July 7th at 10:30 a.m. The Lady Liberators.
Yep.
The all-female Marvel cast.
Awesome. And, of course, nobody has to sign up for that. You just come out and hang out, right?
Yeah.
What time should they get here?
10:30. Yeah, they usually go from 10:30 to about noon.
Okay.
It's absolutely free and it's family friendly. It's all inclusive.
And then New World Comic Con 4, July 28th in the Centennial Building. That is also from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. All kinds of stuff going on. That one's going to be so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And so be looking out for the next New World Comics podcast.
Woo.
Yeah. Thank you, Buck. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'm Brad Reed, and we'll see you next time.